Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another rules breakdown. This time I'd like to have a look at Dragonbane, or at least the quick start version of it. Now obviously being a quick start version, this will be a cut down version of the rules. So there is no character advancement in here, and probably a bunch of other rules are not as they will be in the completed game. But this should get you through the quick start game and should definitely help when the full game comes out. Now, as usual, I'm going to use one of the sample characters out of it, so I'll flick to the very back. I'm going to use Baston Bloodjaw here. Not because he's any different to any other character, but because he's at the back, so he's probably the easiest for me to find. Anyway, let's have a look at the Dragonbane RPG. Now, skills are dealt with on page 6, and we'll go to that in just a second. But basically, they're a matter of rolling a d20 under your skill number. So we've got here, he's got mobility of 12, persuasion of 4. So he needs to roll 1d20 under a 4 if he's going to succeed at his persuasion. So 1d20, we throw it, we rolled a 19 and he's failed. But let's go and have a look at page 6. So you roll the d20 under your skill. A result that is lower than or equal to your skill level means that your action succeeds. Rolling a 1 on a d20 means you are particularly successful. This is called rolling a dragon. In combat, a dragon roll a specific X, increasing the damage of an attack, for example. Outside of combat, the GM decides the effect. Some suggestions: you impress everyone around you. You achieve more than intended. The action is performed faster than usual. Rolling above your skill level means your action fails. We'll come back to that in a second. If you roll a 20, it's called rolling a demon. Rolling a 20 on a d20 is called rolling a demon and means that the roll fails regardless of your skill level and other circumstances. Rolling a demon also means that the roll cannot be pushed. And there is no way of increasing or decreasing the skills based on difficulty. The Games Master has boons and banes, which is basically advantage and disadvantages in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Basically, you get to roll 2 dice. If you've got a boon, then you choose the lower of the 2, so you've got a higher chance of succeeding. If you've got a bane, then you're choosing the higher of the 2, because you've got a larger chance of failing. Now, flicking on a couple of pages, we've got opposed rolls. If two people are in opposition, somebody's trying to sneak, someone's trying to spot them, then you're both trying to pass your skill test. But if you both succeed, the person who rolls lower succeeds better. So if somebody rolls a 5 for their sneak, succeeding, someone rolls a 6 for their spot to try and spot them sneaking, the 5 is lower, so the person sneaks successfully. If the person trying to spot them had rolled a 3, then they would have succeeded. And like the other Free League publishing games, you can push your roll. So basically, if you roll and fail without rolling a demon, without rolling a critical 20, you get to re-roll. However, you then have to write it into your description of what you're doing. A condition effect to one of your attributes. So if you push your strength, you're getting dazed. If you're pushing your constitution, you're getting sickly. Your agility, you're exhausted. Intelligence, you're angry. Willpower, you're scared. Charisma, you're dirty. So, for example, you are pushing a combat roll and you end up rolling in the dirt because you miss first of all, scrambling up and then hitting them when you roll your second dice. Because you're chosen the dirty charisma one, so your clothes are all scuffed up, and people will then give you disadvantage on, or a bane as it's called, on all your charisma rolls after that, until you get a chance to rest up and heal that, which is basically you're sitting around and you clean yourself up. Now the other ones were dazed, sickly, exhausted, angry, scared. You write them into your backgrounds. So with intelligence, if you wanted to push your intelligence, you're getting angry, so you're getting very frustrated and annoyed, and that makes it difficult for you to concentrate on things because you're really annoyed about everything because you failed in your task before. You get to push each of these So you can push 6 things between rests, but you can only heal back one of those conditions per short rest. At this point, it's also worth mentioning willpower. So we flick back a couple of pages to page 5. You've got willpower points equal to your willpower attribute. So if you've got a willpower of 15, let's actually have a look at our sample character. He's got a willpower of 13, so he has 13 willpower points. Now, those can be used for various things, including special abilities which can change your dice rolls. So you can get certain ones which give you a boon on your dice rolls, and you're more likely to succeed by spending some willpower points on that dice roll. But that depends on the character and what abilities they have. Now, initiative's dealt with on page 11, so if we flick back to that, and it is dealt with by pack of cards. Basically, the Games Master has the numbers 1 to 10 on their pack of cards drawn out of a deck, with the ace counting as 1, and every player draws a card, and they go from 1 to 10. And that's as easy as initiative is. You draw a card and you get to go. Every round you draw a fresh card from the deck, so you put your cards back in. When you've acted, you turn your card face down, because you can do things like dodge and parry attacks, which will use your action ahead of time, so you will act it out of your order, but you don't get to act again. And that's as simple as initiative is. You get to go once on your action, and that's it. Now, combat is dealt with like other skill rolls. So if we go back to our sample character, we can see that he has blunt weapon skill at 14. So we will roll 1d20, and he rolls a 4, so he succeeds in hitting. However, if we go to page 14, we can see there's other elements to this. For example, there's critical hits. So if you roll a natural 1, you get to reroll your damage dice for the attack. Now, we'll come back to that, but basically it's like the critical hits in Dungeons & Dragons, where you double your dice but not your bonus from your attribute, your flat bonus. But in Dragonbane, the flat bonus is another dice, so you're doubling the damage from your weapon but not for your attribute. Got stuff about long weapons here, being able to reach past. Parrying you can do in combat. If you're attacked and you decide to parry, you get to act out of your initiative phase, but only if you haven't already acted and spent your action. And then you get to roll to block with your shield or with your weapon. And if you succeed, you parry that attack. Dodging is very similar, except you're rolling your mobility instead of your attack skill. And you dodge out of the way, and dodging also works against ranged weapons. Now, in the occurrence that you score a critical, so you roll a 1, a dragon, in an attack, somebody attempting to parry also has to roll a dragon in their attack to parry that. However, if somebody rolls an ordinary attack, but the person parrying rolls a dragon on their parry, they get to do a counter attack, so they get to attack the person back and do damage. Now, damage is dealt with here on page 17. And first thing to take note of is how armor works. Armor doesn't make you more difficult to hit like in Dungeons & Dragons. Armor takes directly away from the attack. But depending on the type of armor, it may actually offer more protection than its simple rating. So we've got damage types in armor here. So leather and studded leather gain a +2 bonus to their armor rating against bludgeoning damage. Chainmail gets a +2 bonus to its armor rating against slashing damage. So if you're wearing chainmail, slashing swords won't cut through it, but they will cut through leather. Whereas leather damage, when you're smacking something into it, the flexible nature of chainmail won't stop that, but the hardened nature of leather or studded leather will stop that bludgeoning damage better. Apart from that, it's basically a dice roll. So we have a look at the weapon, and Baston Bloodjaw here has a long spear which does 2d8 damage. So he's rolling 2d8 for his damage. If he'd done a dragon, so rolled a 1 on his attack, he'd be doing double damage, so he'd be rolling 4d8 on that. But he also has a bonus damage here of d6. So he gains d6 extra to that. So he's rolling 2d8 plus 1d6 for his damage. The d6 isn't doubled if you've scored a critical. For range damage, he's got a bonus from his agility, which is only a d4. So if he's throwing his spear here, it does a d10 damage, but it only does a d4 for the strength. So, anyway, he succeeded in his hit, so we are rolling 2d8 plus 1d6. We throw that, and we get 18, and he has done 18 damage. So, he's done 18 damage, but what does that actually mean? Well, much like Dungeons & Dragons, Dragonbane is a hit point based system. So, we are going to take that of his hit points. Now, the character here has only 17 hit points, so 18 would take him down to -1. He's down on the ground. But we haven't taken his armour into account, so he's wearing studded leather armour, which gives him 2 points, so takes it down to 16. Now, the weapon is a piercing weapon, which, as we remember from the last section, chainmail gives a bonus 2 extra against piercing, but leather and studded leather don't. They give bonus 2 against bludgeoning weapons. So the 2 takes it down to 16 without any other bonuses. It's also worth noting that wearing armour gives you banes on various things. So we've got here is studded armour gives him a bane to sneaking rolls. So because he's wearing armour which is heavy and clunky, that when he's trying to sneak, he's got disadvantage on all sneaking rolls while wearing that armour. Other types of armour will have other disadvantages, obviously. But in being down at 1 hit point, what does that actually mean? Well, let's turn back to page 17. And we can see that there is no disadvantage for being at low hit points. We've got death. If your hit points reaches 0, you drop to the ground and risk dying. At this point, it's safest to stay put and wait for help. Death roll. On your turn in each subsequent round, you must make a death roll, a roll against your constitution attribute. The death roll can be pushed if that optional rule is used. Record how many death rolls you make on your character sheet. After 3 successful death rolls, you recover d6 hit points and do not need to make another roll. After 3 failed death rolls, your player character dies. Rolling a dragon counts as 2 successful death rolls. Rolling a demon counts as 2 failures. If the combat ends, keep counting rounds until all death rolls have been made. So very much like 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons and the death saves you've got to make on that. Additional damage. If you suffer additional damage while at 0 hit points, it automatically counts as a failed death roll. So you can hit somebody and make them fail death rolls to finish them off. Rally. Another player character within 10 meters in earshot can persuade you to rally and keep fighting, despite having 0 hit points. This is a free action, but each person can only do this once per round. If you rally, you can continue acting as normal, but keep making death rolls as described above. You can even try to persuade yourself to rally, but with a bane. Saving a life. When you have 0 hit points, another person can save your life with a successful healing roll. This counts as an action. You recover d6 hit points. Additional healing rolls have no effect once you are no longer at 0 hit points. And instant death. You don't record negative hit points, but if a single attack reduces your hit points to a negative score equal to your full hit points, your player character dies instantly. And then on the next page, on page 18, we've got the conditions, healing and resting, and other hazards. So the conditions, as we discussed before, are when you've pushed rolls and you've taken a condition. Healing conditions, you can heal 1 condition of your choice during a stretch rest. A shift rest heals all conditions. Now, a stretch rest is a 15-minute rest when you're sitting down, taking a breath, and you can heal a condition. So you're cleaning the dirt off your armor, you are calming down your angriness, you're getting over your fear, whatever. A shift rest is 6 hours of sleep. Basically, a long rest. Stretch rest, a short rest that lasts on 1 stretch. During a stretch rest, you heal d6 hit points or 2d6 if someone else is tending to you and succeeds with a healing roll. Well, you heal 1d6, but if somebody is active during that stretch, so they don't get to make a healing roll, if they are caring for you, you get to roll 2d6. So somebody who's at full health can help somebody else double heal instead. During a stretch rest, you also recover 2d6 willpower points and heal a condition of your choice. A shift rest lasts one full shift and can only take place during safe locations where there are no enemies nearby. During a long rest, you can recover all your lost hit points and willpower points and heal all conditions. A shift rest is interrupted by combat or hard work. It counts only as a stretch rest. And that's how you heal up from the conditions and from damage. It's very, very similar to 5th edition. So that is Dragonbane. Now, it's an interesting world. I really like the artwork, and I like a lot of what the rules are doing. It's very, very similar to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, but it's different enough in key ways that it could be a very interesting system to try out. But I think perhaps its similarity may help it pick up an audience, because it'll be easy to transfer across. The concepts are basically the same, but it doesn't interest me that much, so I won't be backing the Kickstarter. I'll link it in the notes down below. I definitely would like to hear from anyone who backs it and gets a copy. I'll probably pick up a copy once it comes out, because I am interested in it. I do like what they're doing. But anyway, I think I've whittled on for quite long enough. So thank you very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.